Well, hi there. It's Monday and time for Monday Mastery. I'm author and dating coach Rick Sodebeer, and I'm glad to be back. It's so good to be back. It's been, I don't know, something like 5 weeks since I've done this. With the holidays falling on the days they did, and a couple of travel days in there. It's been crazy to try to try to be online. And last week I was not feeling well, and actually ended up in urgent care for a cold and sinus and chest cold and just the crud that was going or that is going around. So anyway, I hope you all are doing well. I hope you had a great Christmas and New Year's. And it's time to get back and start thinking about dating and relationships. And hey, Addie, thanks for being here. Glad to see you here. Hope you're doing well. And it's time to get back into talking about dating and relationships and see how we can become a better us for the coming year, for 2023. And one of the things that I've noticed is over the last 2 or 3 or 4 months in having conversations with a variety of different people is expectations in dating. And when I say expectations, I want to clarify that there are two different types of expectations. There are the expectations that you have in the type of relationship you want, the creating your must-have list and your deal-breaker list. In these, I don't think you can be unrealistic. You have the things that you want, need, and desire in a relationship that really will make that relationship unique to you and extraordinary for you. And from every person that I've talked to, every soulmate couple that I've talked to, they've all said the same thing. They've all said that their mate or their partner has brought more to the relationship than they ever could have imagined. And and they say it almost verbatim. Everybody has said it almost exactly the same way. And so you have to understand that there is something special about that one special person that comes into your life, that meets all of your must-haves, has none of your deal breakers, connects with you on an intellectual, spiritual, emotional, and physical level, and you speak similar love languages, and then you have the chemistry. And I'm not talking about the chemistry of infatuation. The chemistry of dealing with infatuation is fleeting. And science shows us that infatuation will disappear, or it will last as long as 24 months, or maybe plus or minus a few months. But I think, and I don't have any physical evidence, or it's more anecdotal evidence, the more you date, the less infatuation you'll feel with someone. Now, that doesn't mean that you won't get excited about seeing somebody and meeting them, and it doesn't mean you won't think about the next time you get together with them and be excited about those things. But I think as you date, the more experience you get, you just naturally remove some of that infatuation excitement out of your dating experience, out of your dating life, which is okay. And it's nice. Don't misunderstand me. It's nice to feel that the tingles, the butterflies in the stomach, the wobbly knees, the excitement, the anticipation of your next date. It's for me, when I do get those feelings, it's usually on my way to pick her up, or on my way to see her again. And those are great feelings. But what I've found is that it's not the giddy feeling that we get, when we first start dating, and it's all the excitement. Everything is new, and as we mature, as we date more, some of the newness wears off. The first dates are not necessarily as exciting as they used to be, because we've come to experience the highs and lows of the first dates, and now they're first dates. Hey, Phil, thanks for joining in. Yes, I am back. And Susan K, thank you for being here. Susan, Susan, you're rapidly becoming one of my biggest advocates. She says, again, I can never thank you enough for your guidance. Susan is with her soulmate, and I'm so excited for you, Susan. It's so great to see. It's so great to hear. She's a living testament to being patient and following the for being patient and just following the guidelines that I set out, so that you can be the guiding factor, or what am I trying to say? I don't know. It's just, I've got a couple of things running through my head, but anyway, it's you get to choose who you spend time with. You're not settling. So, hey, Steve, thanks for joining in, and it's my pleasure to be here. Hey, Marguerite. And Marguerite says, yes, talking about the bubble love state. And so I'm assuming, Marguerite, you're talking about infatuation, and infatuation is a temporary feeling, and it can last for a few weeks to several months, up to 24 months, as studies tell us. But there's another aspect of expectations in dating that I want to talk about today. That's really more. I don't know that I want to say it's more important, but it is very important to understand, because it sets the tone for all of our dating and our dating experiences. And let me grab this real quick. Addie says, I haven't been feeling the excitement of going on dates within the last 2 years. Can't tell if it's my experience or what exactly. I don't even get nervous anymore. It's sort of disappointing. And that's a great point, Addie. But I think it's also the experience. When you've had the experience of going on a lot or a significant number of first dates, the newness does wear off. It becomes more routine. And while I don't want to diminish anybody's fantasies of excitement, it's and the anticipation of a great date, it is part of it. It is one of the factors in dating that I think the more you do it, the more you'll start to experience that. And it shouldn't. I hope it doesn't remain disappointing for a long period of time. I hope you look at it as a point that you're becoming a seasoned dater. And that's a good thing, because that allows you to stay focused on what's important to you. It allows you to pay attention to what's important to you. And when we're in that phase of infatuation, a lot of times, most of the time, we have blinders on, and we start to either naturally or intentionally ignore the red flags, ignore the things that cause us to make mistakes, make poor choices, settle for less than what we actually deserve, because we intentionally avoid seeing those things, whether or it may not be intentionally, but we're not paying attention to the signs, the red flags, the yellow flags, the things that should caution us. Hang on here. I've got to pop a cough drop in because I'm still suffering from my... Hang on. Sorry about that. I'm still suffering from my head cold and chest cold, and still have a cough, and it's I was kind of afraid that was going to happen, but we're gonna push through this tonight. So, Addie, I wouldn't be too concerned about that. You're just becoming experienced in dating, and know what to expect, know what you want, and know what you don't want. So, when you do find that right person, you will find that some of that excitement will bubble back, and you'll experience some of that. But again, that infatuation feeling, that excitement about the early dating, it dissipates anyway as you get to know someone, as you get to date someone, as you get into a relationship. All of that stuff dissipates after a while, and when it becomes a full-blown relationship, and it's just the everyday, and you get into that everyday routine. So don't feel too bad about that, Addie. I think that's just a sign that you're a much more experienced dater, and you're on the track to being able to weed out some of the less than adequate mates much more quickly. And then that's part of the downside of dating and becoming an experienced dater, is that you're able to quickly weed out the ones that really don't qualify, the ones that don't have all of your must-haves, or at least aren't presenting a majority of those must-haves, and you save yourself a lot of time and effort and energy that invested in the wrong people. And that's part of the problem with dating these, and it's been part of the problem with dating for eons, is that you invest a lot of time and energy and effort into the wrong people, and all of a sudden you look down the road a year, 2 years, 5 years, and you say, wow, this is the wrong person for me. And when deep down inside you've known it almost from the beginning. I can almost guarantee you that if we go back and analyze some of your, and I'm not talking just about Addie, if we talk about, and I'm talking about you in general, that if we analyze some of your dating experiences or your relationship experiences, we can go back to the first 30 days of dating and find that there were red flags, or at least signs there that this was a relationship to be questioned. I know I can do that. Looking back at my ex-wife, we dated for 8 years, but within the first few dates, I already recognized there were problems, but I thought I could work through them. I thought I could make things better. And in the end, I couldn't. So when you're with the wrong person, and I don't want to, I want to make it very crystal clear that we did have some very good times. I ended up with a wonderful daughter and a couple of grandchildren out of that relationship. It's not to say that there was nothing good that came of it, but it was not an extraordinary relationship. It wasn't my soulmate relationship. And that's what I really want all of you to recognize, is that when you're with your soulmate, they'll make you feel like $1 million. They will enhance your life. They will make your life extraordinary. And it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be a financial extraordinary. It could be an extraordinary life in adventures that you have. It could be an extraordinary life of just spending time with someone you absolutely love and don't want to be away from. Everybody's extraordinary is going to be different. It could be, you enjoy spending time in the garden with each other. It could be, taking care of the yard. It could be, there are some women enjoy hunting and fishing and being able to spend that time with her man out in the woods or out on the water is an amazing time. But it's when you find that extraordinary person, they're going to make you feel things that you have never felt before. And truly, in doing some research and listening to a couple of commentaries recently, even if we assume that 50% of married couples are happy and really enjoy their marriage, that means that another half, and we're just talking about the half that are married once, they get married and stay married. That's only 60% of the population. So that means that a full 70% of the population is not happy. They've not met their soulmate. They're not happy in their marriage. They're not happy in the relationships that they're in. So my goal is to help people make better choices, make better decisions about who they're dating and the relationships they choose. And it is a choice. You have a choice to continue to date someone or to move on. And the best time to move on is when you start recognizing that it's not a healthy relationship, or it's not the relationship you're looking for. It doesn't mean that either one of you are bad people. It just means that you're not right for each other. And I just, hang on. Sorry about that. Didn't want to cough and blow out your speakers. But I want to get back to an area of expectations that we all tend to make a mistake at. And that is the expectation of how quickly you'll find your soulmate. And this is, over the last several months, this has been a common theme through people that I talk to about dating. They get frustrated with dating when I say, well, how many people have you dated in the last year? Well, 4, maybe 5. Well, you can't possibly. Well, let me take that back. Most people's expectations is that they're going to date 4, 5, maybe 6 people and find their soulmate. And the problem with that is that the odds of you finding your soulmate in dating that few people is slim to almost none. And if you're not dating, if you're serious about finding your soulmate, you have to be willing to put some effort into this. And that's one of the things that I would like to focus on this year, is putting effort into dating. And that means we should be dating at least 2 people a month, 2 different people. There's a great book by Dr. Henry Cloud, and I forget the name of the book right now, but he talks, and it has to do with dating and relationships, finding your extraordinary relationship. And one of the challenges he gave one of his assistants, who was single at the time, was to date and I think it was like in the month of February, to date 28 different people in that month. And what she discovered is that, and she took that challenge on and had a different date. But by the time she got to like number 24, 25, she stopped dating because she found the person that she really wanted to spend time with. And the reason you want to date that many people, number one, is that you get to learn about a variety of different characteristics and traits that you never thought were available or that you might enjoy. And then you'll find some traits that you just didn't realize you wouldn't enjoy. So it's important to date a lot of people, because this is as much as I hate to say it, it is a numbers game. You're looking for that that needle in a haystack relationship. I know some of you get tired of hearing me say that, but it's you're looking for that one person. And what I find is that people are expecting to go out and date and be able to find a bunch of people to choose from. It doesn't work that way. Especially when you're talking about online dating. The online dating, people think that, wow, man, there's so many people online, I should be able to have a smorgasbord of people to choose from. That's not the way it works, because you're looking for one person to spend the rest of your life with. You shouldn't be approaching it from the standpoint of, oh, I get to choose from a dozen different people. No. If there were that many soulmates out there, you probably wouldn't even need online dating. But the purpose of online dating is to find that, to be able to meet people that you don't necessarily run into in your daily walk through life. And it's a problem. Sorry about that. I'm coming to the end of my voice here. And let me pause right here and grab Steve's comment. Steve says, interesting. I was ready to give up dating, so I said one more week. I went on 6 dates in 3 days. Wow, 6 dates in 3 days. That's awesome. And on the sixth date, I met my soulmate. See, there you go. And that's Steve, you make my point that we all get frustrated. We all get tired. We all want to take a break. That's okay. What's not okay is if you really want to be in a soulmate relationship, the important thing to remember is you can't give up. Because the minute you give up, you make it much more difficult for your soulmate to find you. You have to be out there doing your part. It's God wants us to be in a strong, healthy relationship. And the comment or the line that always cracks me up is especially women. Ladies, I'm not picking on you, but I hear this more from women than I do from men. So the women will say, God will bring me the right one. Well, he's not going to bring you the right one if you're sitting at home. You have to be active. You have to be doing your part. You have to be an active participant in your dating life and in your relationship life. It's not going to happen if you're sitting at home. It means you have to get out. You have to get out and be social. You have to be online. You have to go to things like meetup groups. You have to go to places, social events. You have to be able to strike up a conversation anywhere, anytime. And whether it's the grocery store or Starbucks or wherever it is, maybe you're even in the not the car dealership, if you're getting your oil changed, you're sitting in the waiting room at the oil change place. You can strike up a conversation with anybody there. And let me get caught up on some of the comments here. Addie says, I had went on a first date with a guy, and he just expected me to be exclusive with him after one date. I told him no, and if he expected me to be exclusive, that after just one date, I'm not the lady for him. It was not a magical date by any means. And normally, when you run into to people like that, and Addie, in your case, guys like that, you're right. You made an awesome decision to move on, because they're automatically assuming that that it's going to be a great relationship based on what they want. They're not taking into consideration what you want, need, and desire. And Steve says, I love it, Addie. It sounds like he was not a healthy, safe person. Absolutely. And Addie says, not sure if I handled that correctly, but I needed to be upfront and honest. No, you handled it. It sounds like, Addie, you handled that perfectly, because you laid, he was laying his cards on the table. You laid your cards on the table, and neither one of you matched. And especially if he gave you any grief about it, then you should know that you really dodged a bullet, because the relationship, or any relationship that he looks for, is going to be about his wants, needs, and desires, as opposed to yours. And when you're looking for for a great relationship, or an extraordinary relationship, you need to be looking for relationships that, I'm sorry, you need to be looking for relationships that enhance your life, as opposed to take away from it. They shouldn't be, every relationship is going to take work, but there are some workloads that are so much easier than others. Sorry, I got to pop another cough drop in here. Otherwise, I'm going to be choking to death. Addie says, I'm sorry, I'm going to come back to you. Addie says, exactly. Dodged a bullet. Absolutely. That's exactly what you did. Liz says, upfront, honest, and it is always the best. And Addie says, he was accusatory that there were other men in my life. I'm sorry that there are other men in my life. I had to laugh at him. I was just shocked, and see, Addie, there you go. And that was my point. Any relationship with him was going to be all about his wants, needs, and desires, and had nothing to do with you. Steve says, Rick, maybe too much for this presentation, but I was wondering. I had the greatest relationship ever. We had both done much work and understood that the oxy. Oh, I'm assuming you mean the oxytocin could wear off, but we were so happy being together that it never wore off. And oxytocin will not. And that gets into another conversation about raging hormones, and there's a lot that goes on with hormones. And so those are the types of hormones that bond us to people, even the wrong people, that it becomes almost an addictive relationship, because the dopamine is flowing, the oxytocin, the serotonin, and all of these things combine to attach us to others. We did things to keep it alive. We wanted to be together always. We were truly soulmates. It was a 2-year relationship. Then I lost her to. I'm so sorry, Steve. It was magic, and we appreciated every minute together. I want the same magic in the next relationship. Do I need to? And that's I lost the. I lost the end of that. That's as far as that note goes, Steve. And Steve, you can have that again. It's going to be different. Here it is. Steve says, "Do I need to adjust my expectations? The bar is set very high. I want that magical feeling again, and will not settle. Maybe too much for this presentation. Are my expectations too high? No, they are not. The one advantage you have over most of us, Steve, especially those that are listening and will listen at a later date. Most people have never experienced a soulmate relationship. You have that experience, and your standard is set really high now, and that's a good thing because you know not to settle. Now I will say that your next soulmate relationship will be different. Because there's no two people that are the same, but you will still feel that same type of connection. It will just be different. You'll still feel the same feelings, but they're going to be for different reasons. And it's something that you did have something magical, something wonderful. And the only thing that I'll tell you is that make sure that you're emotionally healthy and ready to date before you dive in and try to commit to a new relationship. And it sounds like you have a pretty good handle on what you want, what you need, and what you desire. And it just your late girlfriend, and I don't know if you were married or not, is still going to be a part of your life for forever. And that has to be part of it, but it can't be the central focus on moving forward. What I'm going to caution you on is to not compare everyone you date in the future to her. If you get into that rut, you're going to look at it as well, nobody can live up to her. No, what you're looking for is your next soulmate, and I believe we all have more than one. Hang on. We all have more than one soulmate, and it's just a matter of which one you find next, or which one you find first. That's for most of us. Which soulmate are you going to find first? And each of our soulmates will bring something different to the table, and they're each magical in their own special way. Each of those relationships will enhance our life in their own special way. But no two are going to be the same. So Steve, when you're looking for that next relationship, just understand that it's going to be different, but you can have all of those great feelings again. And Addie says, "I agree with Rick, Steve. Try not to compare. It wouldn't be fair to the next lady that comes along." Thank you, Addie. And that's one of the things that I find with excuse me, I'm sorry I didn't mute that. That I find with especially widows and widowers, they try to, especially widowers, guys try to dive back into the dating world way too soon and find someone to fill an empty spot. And Steve, I don't think you're on that path. I think you're much beyond that. But it's something that a lot of people try to do. They try to fill a void in their lives, and they look for a fair substitute. And Phil says, "Hi Steve, thanks for sharing. I had that relationship for 25 years and ready to move on." So there's a lot going on here, and again, Steve, for you as well as everybody else, it becomes a numbers game. You have to be willing to get out there and date and do the things necessary. I challenge all of you this year to have at least 2 dates a month, 2 dates of different people, not dating the same person twice. And if you can do it, in a shorter period of time, you're more likely to find your soulmate much more quickly than if you date date someone and date them for a month or two and then discover it's not right, or date for 6 months and discover it's not right, or decide that it's not right. And I contend that within 30 days, 30 days or less, most of these dates, or most of the people that you date will show up as whether they're date worthy, to continue to pursue, to get to know them, and this is assuming you make it past the one and done phase. There's we I'm a big fan of one and done. If they don't, and you can tell enough. And some people want to hedge it a little bit and say, well, it might have been a bad date, and nerves or this or that, and make excuses. But generally, if it was not a good date to begin with, it's not going to be a good first date to begin with. It's not going to be a good second date. There are going to be some exceptions along the way, but overall, and they're probably not going to pan out to be somebody you want to date long term anyway. So the one and done, move on, and don't get stuck in a position that the longer you stay, the harder it is to dig yourself out of that hole. So anyway, folks, I'm going to wrap this up today. If you want to dive more into dating techniques, dating fundamentals, if you're stuck in even where to start with dating, check out my program, my online course, datingmadesimple.net. And it goes through everything from getting yourself healthy to right through to what to expect on a first date, or how to present yourself on a first date. And the reason this is important is because we focus on too many of the wrong things. We focus on trying to hit that home run every time we date. That's where the frustration in dating comes in. That's why I hear so many people telling me, "Oh, I'm frustrated with dating because there's no good guys left, or all women are crazy, or whatever it is. All women are high maintenance. They just want to go after my retirement account." No, that's not true. There are going to be some people like that. There are going to be some bad guys that are out there just looking for sex. And if you find those guys that are on a 3-date or 5-date rule, then these resources give you the tools to help you figure that out before you even get to the 3rd date. You can tell there are characteristics, there are traits, there are things that are telltale signs of this isn't the right relationship for me. And again, like I said earlier, it doesn't make anybody a bad person. It doesn't make you a bad person. It just means they're not right for you. And you have to be adult enough, mature enough to recognize that and move on quickly. And I'm a big proponent of not wasting time in mediocre relationships, or relationships that aren't going to lead anywhere. We live such a finite life. We're only going to be here for such a finite time. Why waste it in relationships that are wrong? Why settle for less than extraordinary? It does take more time to find that extraordinary relationship. But when you find it, you will realize deep down to your core why it took so long and why none of the other relationships or none of the other dates worked out. It's because there wasn't that great deep connection that you're looking for. So if you're interested, go to datingmadesimple.com and take a look at the program. If it's right for you, great. If not, check out my book Dating Backward. It's $15 or $16 on either through me or through Amazon. And you can get you can level up your dating life significantly and help you make better choices. So anyway, thank you, Steve. Thank you, Addie. Thanks, Phil. Thank you, Susan, and everybody else that made comments earlier. I appreciate you all. Love you guys, and I will see you next Monday for Monday Mastery. And we'll be here at 6 o'clock. Same bat channel, same bat cave, and have a great and blessed week, everyone.